8:23, welcome back to Mornings Live on Q. Can you understand what your baby is trying to say? Sometimes second-guessing the goo-goos and the gagas may be a thing of the past. Author and researcher Joseph Garcia joins us now to show us how you can teach your baby sign language. Thank you for being with us.
It's nice being here.
Now, what is sign language for babies and why might some parents need it?
Well, it helps you reduce the stress that you may feel with your child. It helps the stress and frustration of the child to be able to express themselves, and also opens up a much more intimate level of communication much earlier in life than waiting for speech to develop.
Because babies can use their hands far earlier than they can use their mouths and try and form words, right?
Almost about a year earlier. So you're talking about a year of clear communication, whereas you wouldn't have that communication at all, which is quite a dramatic difference between not having communication and also having communication.
Hey, let's take a look at some video right now of this in action, I guess, is what we're looking at. What is this baby trying to say?
She's saying more. She wants to eat more.
She wants to eat more. Okay, so she points to her mouth.
For eat.
And then what is the? And
now
then what's
this baby is going to be eating, and all of a sudden she's saying she wants a drink of water. There it goes.
Oh. Now, how long does it take to teach babies point to the head for more water?
Oh. Everyone's a little different. Now she's reading the book and showing the hat that she just saw in the book.
Okay, so hand on head means hat, and then rather than just reaching for the book,
she's saying, please, can I have something to eat?
Okay. And you were saying how long it teaches?
And he's saying bird. Everyone is a little different. Some children respond quite quickly, others a little bit longer. You figure anywhere from 2 weeks to 3 weeks old, or three weeks time between the time that they first are shown the sign and the time that they actually start to produce a sign.
Now, how do you teach them? You show them and repeat the word or the action?
Well, there's a whole process that you go through. For example, at feeding time, you may give them a teaspoon of peas, for example. And when they're all finished with peas and they look up at you and you know they want more, you can sign the sign more, and you kind of establish a sight line between your child and you, and then you put the sign right in there in that sight line.
Okay.
You say more with an inquisitive expression on your face, and you give them a little bit more peas. After about a half dozen or so of those experiences, pretty soon the child starts to associate that hand gesture to the idea of having more food, of course. And pretty soon, one day you're sitting there and reach up their little hands and they put them together and I want more. You know,
I guess consistency is very important here.
Oh, yes. Especially with signs like pain, for like earache, headache, sore throat. I don't think there's anything more frustrating for a parent than to find your child has a pain somewhere and can't tell you what's wrong with them. But now they can tell you they have a stomach ache or a sore throat or an earache. And that's really remarkable to be able to find that information out, as well as your child being able to initiate conversations with you about shared experiences. Is really a wonderful thing to do with a 10-month-old infant.
Yeah, my niece, who's just over a year old now, she raises her hand when she wants to tell us that she's been a good girl. That's what she says, I've been a really good girl. So how do people, can they do one child at one time, or both, say if you have twins, for example?
Oh, yeah. In fact, daycare programs that do very young children are finding it very successful to use in a daycare setting, teaching a whole range of children at the same time. For example, story time is a great time to introduce signs or songs or all these different activities. It gives it a real physical element to a story or to a song or something.
And now this isn't absolutely new, because people have been using sign language with their babies for quite some time, but this sort of encapsulates the whole thing into a program. Is that correct?
Well, yes. We have to really give credit to the deaf community for developing the language, of course, in the first place. And yes, signs have been around for a long time. I don't think anyone's ever really focused on researching when enough cognition, memory, and dexterity were all together at one time to facilitate that that two-way communication until about, I did my research about 12 years ago, and there's another study at UC Davis about 10 years ago.
Okay. And again, the proper age to start teaching your baby sign language is
approximately 8 months. I hate to put a real blanket rule on it, because every child is so different and every parent is so different and your lifestyles are different, but approximately about the 8th month.
Okay, good information. Thank you very much, Joseph Garcia.